Hey guys, and welcome to Deep Space. In this video I'm going to show you how to create this folder and with this animation effect on hover using HTML and CSS. So to begin, on your desktop create a folder and name it something relevant and open this with your text editor. Here I have VS Code. In my HTML file I have basic HTML boilerplate. In my CSS file I have some styles to remove the extra margin and padding that browsers give. Make sure to link your CSS file properly in your HTML. In my browser I have two tabs open. From this one I'll be showing you what I'm doing, and this one the HTML file, the empty HTML file that you are working on right now. So to begin, let's jump back to the HTML file and create a div with class of folder which holds everything inside of it. Let's create another div with class of folder back, and a div with class of paper. See, inside of it you have 3 papers. Paper times 3, so we have 3 div with class of paper, and then another div with class of folder front, which will be the front of the folder front, and times 2, because the second one will have an extra class of right. Later I'll show you why I'm doing it. So that's it for the HTML part. Let's open CSS. Let's split the screen so it will be easier to see. And also the browser. So here's my browser and here's the code editor. Let's select body and set width to 100%, height to 100 view height, background to F1, F2 and F6, display to flex, justify content to center, and align items to center. Let's save it. You can't say anything because now see, we have centered it. It was just for demonstration. You can remove it. And also this one. So I just want to see that it's in the center, like this one. Let's set transition to all 0.2 seconds and ease in as timing function. That's because when we hover over the folder it will move up a little, and timing function is 0.2 second. Let's move on to the next part, which is the folder back. I said 0.2 is timing function, but it's actually duration. Anyway, let's move to the next part, which is the back. And let's select dot folder back. Let's set position to relative, width to 100 pixels and height to 80 pixels. Background to 4786 and FF. Border radius to 0, 5 pixels, 5 pixels and 5 pixels. I don't have to save because I have auto save in VS Code, so it's a nice feature. Now that's what we got so far. Let's put this small box on top. So to do that, let's select the small box. Dot folder back. We are going to use pseudo class after. Because it's a pseudo class, we want to style it, so we have to set content to empty, width to 30 pixels and height to 10 pixels. Background to hex color of 4786 and FF. Let's set position to absolute. Let's set bottom to 98% and left to 0. You can see it's up here right now, but let's give it some border radius so it will look nice. 5 pixels, 5 pixels and 0, 0. Now it looks nice. Let's move on to the papers inside of the folder. So let's select the folders. Remember, we have 3 divs with class of paper because we have 3 files or papers in it. So dot folder back dot paper, there are 3 of them, and let's set width to 20%, height not 20, actually it's 70, and height to 80%. Let's set background to hex color of E6 and E6. You can see it's outside of his container. You can fix that by setting his position to absolute, and they are inside. Let's position them. So bottom 10% and left 50%. Let's use transform, translate minus 50% and 10%. So we will animate it and change its position during animation, but for now that's what we have. Now let's set border radius to 5 pixels, and for the last part, transition to all 0.3 seconds is in out. So when we animate it, it will apply all this transition effect. Right now nothing happens. Now let's select the second and third paper to move them and give this visual effect, like they're on top of each other. So we can copy from here and use nth-child selector, nth-child second, and set background to hex color of F2, F2, F2. I know it's noisy in background because I'm outside right now. And set width to 80%, height to 70%. Now see the second one, the first one, second one. Now let's copy all of this and paste it here. The second child, the third child, and change its background to white. Let's set width to 90% and height to 60. Now all of them look nice, but there is no still animation. They look exactly the same. The next part is the curtain, or the front, which is this. So I made a typo here, and let's see. So the first one is white, or the last one is white. So now let's pick that curtain. So in HTML we have two divs with class of folder front. This one is going to be this on the left side, and the second one, which has an extra class of right, will be on the right side. So I'll show you in CSS. So let's select this. So folder back, and dot folder front. Now let's set its position to absolute, width and height to 100%, background to hex color of 70, A1 and FF. See, it's closed now. Let me set opacity to 0.4 so you can see through it. See, I call it the curtain because it hides the files. Now let's set border radius to 5 pixels. The dogs won't stop barking. It's really annoying when you record something. And transform origin to bottom. Transition to all, 0.3 seconds, ease in out. So right now, this was just for demonstration, so we can remove it, or I'll remove it later. Now I set opacity to 0.2 because when we animate, I want you to see everything that you are doing. So let's move to the animation part. Let's give some space to work with. See, if I set opacity, if we remove opacity, it will be invisible. The files or papers will be invisible. But because we have animation on everything, that's why I set opacity to 0.2. So let's first animate the folder itself. Folder hover, and right now nothing happens, but let's set transform to translate Y, which is vertical, or from top to bottom, or from vertical is like from top to bottom or from bottom to top, depending on the values that you set. So if we set positive number like 8 pixels, it will move it down, but I'm going to set it to minus 8 pixels, so it will move it up. That's the first animation. Let's copy that and select the papers. Dot folder hover dot paper, and right now, no, that's not what we want. Translate to minus 50% and 0%. Let's see. No, nothing still happens because it's translate, not translate Y. Now let's see. It's probably hard to notice, but they're moving up a little as folder moves. Now for the last part, let's open the folder itself, which is this. So now you saw everything animates. Let's remove this opacity and open the folder itself now. So we can copy from here and paste it. First, animate the left curtain, and here let's select the first one, which is folder front. it will select both of them, but using the right class we will move the second one to the right. So dot folder front and set transform skew to 15 degrees and scale y to 0.6. Let's see what it does. Now the right you can see the right side is a little open. So to change that, let's select the second div, which is the same class but has an extra class of dot right. So we can just right here and set its skew to -15 degrees and scale will be the same. So let's save it and see. They look exactly the same. That's it for this tutorial. I know there's a lot of noise in background, but where I live people are really noisy, so sorry for that.